Welcome to your Daily 5. I'm Bruce Fraser, your host. I have with me today Johnny Scan, and we are going to show you a very powerful, straightforward, simple scan and look at some stocks. John, thanks for being here.
Great to be with you, Professor. What do we have for today? Let's jump right in.
We're gonna do kind of an original or a straightforward thing. We're going to look at the communications sector, and it caught our attention because it showed up on the homepage of StockCharts.com here in the sector summary. Very strong performance on Friday, a very good day in the market. And you can see here that it was up 3.13%, quite a bit for a sector. And then also just pointing out that you can do the scan that we're going to look at here today on any of these sectors. Look at what else is starting to really perform well: technology and consumer discretionary. John, what do you see here?
Well, definitely we're looking for rotational themes, and communication has really been a difficult sector over the last year or so, as has technology. These are now starting to show some life, and look at the big pops we had on Friday last week. So sector summary is available as part of your homepage dashboard, very easy to set up and get into, and you can hit the sector summary tab, do lots of different things. So very interesting basic information about where the sectors are headed. Should we take a look at how to scan within a sector and look for improvement in that sector? What do you say?
Let's see it. Let's see what you have for us.
Great. So we're able to define the universe of our scanning by using the group syntax that's available down below in the syntax area. Group is communication services sector. That's all that's going to be searched is the communication sector, XLC, and we're asking for something that is showing some strength. And one way to do that is through a rate of change analysis. So here, simply our 10-period rate of change is greater than our 30-period times 1.10. That's optional. You don't need that. But it's saying I want something that's really juiced up a little bit in the last 10 periods. We want it to be either a large or mid cap, because there's a lot of small cap things that may be a little too illiquid for most traders in this area. We're going to rank it by the scooter. Your thoughts on using rate of change to detect acceleration, Professor?
Well, it's the ideal tool, and of course, what we're seeing here is acceleration, and then we're putting a threshold where we want to see both acceleration and performance that is exceeding just the basic acceleration of the 30 or the 10 period over the 30 period with that 1.10. So this really is going to show us the best of the best in this emerging rotational group, which is communications. Also, I would point out that you can do this group scan not only on sectors, all the sectors you could put in there, or you can also do it by industry groups. So you could narrow it down into small elements of the market with the same concept, but doing industry groups instead of sectors.
We could cover that real quick, where you can do that here through using the different sectors. You could break down which subsectors or industry groups you want to see within that, and using the OR syntax, a little illustration of which is there, you can actually focus in on more than one group sector at the same time. You could do XLK, XLC, XLRE all at the same time. Very, very powerful tools that are afforded to the scanner in StockCharts. Should we take a look at what happens when you run this scan, Professor?
Absolutely.
So when we run that scan using these factors, we get 44 entries that are responsive to the scan. We see they're all from the communication services sector. The industry groups are varied: mobile telecom, fixed telecom, entertainment, so on and so forth, scooter, and we see that our daily scooter is highest first, which is what we expected, and that all large and mid-cap stocks. Your thoughts here, Professor?
Well, we're seeing the entirety of the communications sector here, so we're just not seeing fixed line telephone, also seeing publishing, media agencies, and so on. And if you clicked on the industry tab at the top, you could even sort them by their respective industry category. And so it's a very, very powerful tool. And so see, there you go. So we can see entertainment. Look at all the entertainment there: internet, media agencies, mobile telecom. So this is a great way to just look at type companies in an industry inside of communications. Very powerful tool. And then to go back to the scooter rank, you just click on scooter again, and it'll rank them accordingly.
Yep, up or down.
Very effective, very powerful.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how important a tool it is just to click on the headings of the columns, because it lets you sort the data up or down, and it can show you who's in the category, what industry groups are more represented in your scan results. It's really extremely powerful. And all of that can be exported right to Excel and manipulated further. So super powerful stuff the folks at StockCharts are providing. Should we take a look at the charts, Professor?
That's the best part. That's the most fun.
All righty. Well, let's have some fun then. So what are you seeing here?
Well, this, I believe, is an English media agency company, WPP Group. And we see that the downtrend, which was fiercely enforced throughout 2022, that stride has been broken, and then it built what looks like a very constructive accumulation, which may be complete. Made its final low in December of 22, which is a good sign. That's a higher low. And note the sign of strength rally into the end of November, and then a shallow pullback, and then immediately it starts to rally in the new year. And note the relative strength also, which is the red line underneath, which is in a confirmed uptrend. What do you see here, John?
Same thing. Balance of volume is up on all three time frames there. 50 just crossed the 200, a little bit of a pullback, stutter step here at the $57 area, and relative strength indicating recent outperformance. So a lot of good things to look at there in the world of XLC. Our next chart is Pearson PLC, another foreign company, I believe. What are you seeing here, Professor?
Well, this is really interesting because it's worked its way back up to the 2021 highs in a stair-step fashion, and note that it had an accumulation structure in late 21 into March of 22, and then jumped out, backed up to old resistance, which is now new support around June, July, and built a reaccumulation, which concluded, it looks like, in October. And now it's jumping out and trying to get back to the 21 highs, where there's probably formidable resistance. So we'll keep a close eye on this and see whether it can break that out and take out the prior highs, which I think could set up the conditions for a more important uptrend. John, your thoughts?
Well, from a scanning perspective, we can see that we have a very significant run right here in the last 2 to 3 weeks. That would be the ROC 10, and then we go back about 6 weeks and we see that we have basically a fairly flat trajectory, maybe right from here to here, or in this area. So we have much greater acceleration short term than we do over 30 days, and that's what we're looking for, is something that's demonstrating recent acceleration. This chart really captures that perfectly. Let's see what our next candidate says. Again, look at this acceleration over the last 10 periods compared to a longer term look here. Very interesting on KT Corp. What are your thoughts here, Professor?
Korean telecom company, and you could see there's very formidable resistance back in 21 and 22, and then a more important reaction into October, which has sort of the effects of a spring, which immediately is reversed. That's a really good rally off that October low. And then after the near-term peaking in December, it has a natural pullback, but immediately is able to show signs in 2023 of taking out the December high and trying to get back up to resistance. Very constructive. This whole area back to mid-2021 could prove to be reaccumulation, and a new high would, I think, set up the conditions for a new uptrend potentially. So I like the looks of this.
That has definitely some potential, and this is quite springy action here in October, as you pointed out. Very interesting there. Our next candidate, Ziff Davis, Internet Services. What are your thoughts here, Professor?
Well, this is, again, breaking the stride of a downtrend that started in 2021. And this one's a little more speculative because it's trying to trace out an accumulation structure. I really like the way it showed a sign of strength in November, and then it pulled back to a higher low in late December, which is tax loss selling, which really is the product of that downtrend that started a year prior. And now it's back above the 200-day, and it should show the ability to be able to take out the late November high and then start to mark up, which would confirm that this is accumulation.
Definitely earlier in the process. Let's take a look at our next candidate, RELX. I'm not really pronouncing that correctly, but much more of a muddy picture here, I think. It has broken the down channel, pulled back to the 200, and popped up really good momentum of late this year. Relative strength, choppy but moving up, and interesting perspective here. Publishing. What are your thoughts, Professor?
Well, what I find so interesting is we have a September springing type action, an October test of the spring, a very good rally up to and through the 200-day moving average, where it pulled back, and the relative strength has been really good since September. So I'm really liking that. And then, of course, what's important about the early 2023 rally in January is it took out the July-August peak, which could be a sign of strength. Now what we'd like to see is a really modest and dull reaction with little downside movement and a pause, which we would call a backup. And if it can stay above the 200-day and just get dull and quiet, I think that would be a really good sign that there's accumulation taking place here.
Awesome. We have one more, but we're out of time. Great formation here on Dolby Laboratories. We'll have to cover that one in the future. Check out the Wyckoff Market Report, and thanks for watching.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.